Hello, Obophiles! Today, we're going to be learning an extended technique known as flutter tonguing. Yes, flutter tonguing. Much like a bird flutters when it's spooked, you can make that sound on your oboe by some fancy wind and tongue work. Today, I'm going to be playing on a Passati MB oboe. If you'd like to see me review this oboe and talk a little bit about its strengths and weaknesses, you can see that video by clicking up in one of those corners. And as always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so flutter tonguing. Essentially what you're doing is you're taking a note, but if you want to have some attitude on that note, you can add this like kind of effect on it. It gives you that kind of drum roll on the note. So, how do you do it? Well, there's kind of two big strategies to do it. One of them is louder and the other one is kind of softer. I'll teach you the softer one first, which is done kind of by doing a growl. So you can think in your throat kind of how a dog might growl. Or you can think about if you're gargling water. You take some water in there and you're doing it in the back of your throat with your tongue, and it kind of vibrates back and forth between the top of your throat and the back of your tongue. And it gives you more of a softer flutter tongue. So obviously this is ideal for more subtle variations. You will not hear this in an orchestra. It'll just sound like you got water in your key or something crazy like that. But if you're playing in a chamber setting and you need that effect, maybe for something 20th century, or if you're playing like a chamber version of Alpine Symphony, this might do the trick. But if you're going to play the real Alpine Symphony, this will not do. In the big orchestra, nobody will hear that. So you need the second technique of flutter tonguing, which is to flutter in the front of your mouth. Now, if you're a Spanish speaker, you are at a huge advantage, or any language that rolls their R's, because essentially that's what we're going to do. Now, a lot of us learning Spanish couldn't always do that, and you might have got this whole like car-la-la-la-la-ro sound. That's fine. Actually, I think that's a great way to get the muscles strong if you can't roll your R's. So just think about keeping like a tone and la 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 at the front of your mouth. I'm hitting my tongue with the the bottom of my front teeth. So the last part to come out of your mouth. So if this is like the base of the tooth, this is like the crown of the tooth. And for your top teeth, it's like the bottom in that it's closest to the floor, but the topmost in that it's like the exterior-most part of your tooth. Okay, so make up your own variations for that, however you want, but get that muscle strong. Eventually you'll be able to go, and you'll feel pretty good about it. The tongue actually doesn't hit on the tooth when you do that. You want to work your way backwards. It hits at the base of the tooth where the tooth meets the gum. I can't show you because it's inside my mouth, but you gotta kind of feel where you are. It's where the base of the tooth hits the tongue, where the tooth would be coming out of your mouth. Coming out of your gum, excuse me. Okay, so once that's done, we need some exercises to work this out. The easiest note to flutter tongue on is 1 and 1 C. That's the C in the middle of the treble clef. So second space from the bottom C, and just kind of hold it. And your job is to divorce the tongue from the tone production. Once it's divorced from the tone production, try incorporating the reed into the flutter tonguing sequence. So you might have, and it's gonna sound funny. It's gonna sound like all flat, and the intonation's gonna go crazy. Work your way gradually until it doesn't happen anymore. And once the tone is secure, even though the flutter tonguing isn't happening, you're now able to combine them. So now, get the reed set, start blowing, and start flutter tonguing as the tone is produced. As you practice it, maybe do 3-4 times in a row, try to get the delay between the tongue start and the tone minimized. And I think that the key is to get these lip muscles strengthened even though there's so much air rushing out of your mouth. And eventually, the response will be instantaneous. Okay, so once that's done, just try little 2-note groupings. And obviously, obviously, the next step is 3-note groupings. The more pressure that your oboe needs to function, the harder this is going to become. C, B, and A, and G might be easy. It gets harder as you need more air pressure from your back of your throat. Excuse me. But eventually, you can go in all of the range of the oboe, and it shouldn't be an issue. Oh. Woo! I'm getting really lightheaded making this video. You gotta move a lot of air through the oboe to make this happen. I think that for the symphonies that need this, it is in the lower range of this oboe. So work these exercises out, and eventually you'll be able to play anything flutter-tongued on the oboe. It can be a cool effect also in improvisation if you're trying something like more Latin-y or just fun, kind of jam session. Something, you know, like that has a nice effect. Okay, so if you can flutter tongue, let me know in the comments below what your favorite exercises or strategies and techniques are for getting that flutter tongue to come out reliably. If you can't flutter tongue yet, keep working at it and let me know how these tips are helping you out. I think a good timeline is work on this for 2 weeks, and then if it's not working after 2 weeks, maybe
Uh, 8 minutes?
oh, sweet.
8, 9 minutes?
Nice.